In less than an hour, President Biden is scheduled to depart the White House to head to Kentucky, where he will join Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell for an event announcing a new major project funded by the president's infrastructure bill. The White House says Biden's remarks will focus on how his economic plan is rebuilding U.S. infrastructure, creating good-paying jobs, and revitalizing communities that have been left behind. The bipartisan showing will also feature Ohio's Republican Governor Mike DeWine and Kentucky's Democratic Governor Andy Beshear, who joins us now. Governor, thank you so much for being on this morning. What is the goal today at this event, which is certainly a far cry from what we're seeing on Capitol Hill with this sort of public display of bipartisanship?
Well, today is a big day for Kentucky, for Ohio, and for the United States of America. I think we're showing what happens when you push partisanship and division aside and you come together, Democrats and Republicans, the federal, state, and local governments and communities, and together you deliver one of the largest projects in the history of the United States. People have been talking about building the Brent Spence Companion Bridge, a companion bridge that runs from Cincinnati to northern Kentucky for decades. Multiple presidents have talked about it. And yet today, we are getting it done. After years of talking about it and of not seeing progress, it's going to happen. And this is a bridge that carries so much of the country's GDP across it every single day. And while structurally sound, was never designed for the amount of traffic that goes across it. So it's going to unlock economic potential all across the country. It's going to create great jobs for people that are going to be able to send their kids to college because they worked on this project. This is a big nonpartisan win for the people of the United States of America. And I'm thrilled that the largest, or what we think is the largest, infrastructure grant in U.S. history is coming to Kentucky and Ohio, too.
So, exactly. So just curious, given the division that we're seeing in Washington and how politics are playing out these days, can you tell us a little bit about how you won in a red state, in the land of Mitch McConnell and Rand Paul? What was it that you were able to do or say that really helped voters gain your trust?
Well, governor's election isn't about who's in the White House. It's about what's going on in your house. See, most people, when they sit down at night after they put their kids to bed and they breathe out, the things they worry about aren't partisan at all. It's, do I have a good paying job? Can I take my kids or parents to a doctor when they're sick? Do I feel safe in my community, and is my family safe? It's those types of basic concerns that you should run for these jobs to address. And that's what we not only talked about in my campaign, but that's what we've been doing. We've had the best two-year stretch for economic development in the history of Kentucky. We've become the electric vehicle battery production capital of the United States of America. We've set the lowest rate for unemployment 3 straight times and the longest stretch for low unemployment. I'm going to deliver the 4 largest budget surpluses we've ever had, and we've got the largest rainy day fund ever. But all of that is about focusing on the needs of our people, about putting our state first, and just not worrying about the day-to-day fights between R's and D's or red and blue, because just like this bridge in northern Kentucky, there's nothing partisan about it. Yet somehow we end up with this partisanship or division creep into things that we used to just work together on and argue about other things. As I think to build the type of America that we want and to get back to being able to talk to our neighbors and not fight or argue with them, let's just try to do what's right for each other, try to be good people, and try to push all that division aside.
Governor Beshear, good morning. Jonathan Lemire, we should note that President Biden, when he was in Cincinnati across the river there from your state back in 2021, he vowed to fix that damn bridge of yours. So now it seems like that is going to happen. And that certainly sounds like the president. But I wanted to ask you about Democrats right now. In 2023, both in the Senate and also in governor's races like yours, there's going to be a need to appeal to the rural voter. We heard from Senator Tester of Montana very recently about this very issue, growing concerned and saying the Democratic Party has lost the ability, he feared, to talk to the rural voter. How can your party correct that?
Well, it starts with just caring about people, about meeting folks where they are, listening to their concerns and working to address it. You know, rural voters, just like urban voters, are worried about those kitchen table issues of are they making enough in their job to provide their kids the type of opportunities that they want them to have? Do they have access to affordable health care? When we expanded Medicaid, it preserved our rural hospitals, and we've invested an additional $2 billion in those and all of our other hospitals to expand access to health care. We're even building the first hospital in the west end of Louisville in 150 years. It's things like having services to where you don't have to drive an hour and a half if you have a child with autism, but can get the services in your community. But most importantly, it's them getting to know you. Getting to know your values, what you believe is important. It's about talking about critical things that make up who you are. For me, certainly my faith, my family, things I care about and things I love. But I think in the end, it all comes down to pushing some of the analysis aside and just showing people that you care and showing up every single day to prove you're going to work for them and earning their trust.
All right, Democratic Governor of Kentucky, Andy Beshear, thank you very much. We'll be watching the big event today. And we are